All right, boys. So in the year of 2023, I am very big on manifestations, and I'm manifesting that we're going to get possibly everything and maybe some things that I'm going to be talking about in today's video for Pokemon Presents, which is going to be happening this upcoming Monday. Leave a like down below and subscribe. I'd love to know your thoughts. Let's jump into it. The obvious one first. Let's break the elephant in the room. Scarlet and Violet DLC is absolutely going to be happening. I mean, with all the lore of the Scarlet and the Violet book, the whole theories that all these make-believe paradox spawns don't even really exist, that they're just a figment of our imaginations. We'd love to know more and how that kind of presents itself, right? Right? Not to mention as well, too, we should be seeing a lot more stuff on terrestrialization, more terra raids, new content, more new areas to discover. Pokemon from Pokemon Home into Scarlet and Violet. There's a lot that's going to be going on into this game, and we're going to be figuring that out with the DLC. That's a guarantee. That's just the elephant out the room. That's 100% going to be happening. Add on to the battles, as on the VGC, new battle series. You already know how it's going to go, man. This ain't new. You know what I mean? This ain't new. Hell, maybe we even get more new mons. It's very likely. You know, we got all these new mons. I mean, obviously, it's not everything that we got is new, but like, we got all these new guys, right? There's a very likely possibility that we also get new mons as well too, because Sword and Shield did that when we got Crown Tundra. So with the content that we got in Crown Tundra, we were able to get a bunch of new mons. We ended up getting all of these guys here, Cubfu, Reggie's, 2 new horses, one being infinitely better than the other, 2 new Broken Fusion Pokemon, the 3rd legendary, because technically speaking, Calyrex is kind of the 3rd legendary. There was the dogs, which kind of go on one, Eternatus, and then Calyrex, which is kind of like that 3rd one. Urshifu's kind of the Zeraora, and Marshadow, he's just sort of there, right? So very likely that we get either 2 DLC waves and we get something along the lines of that and get brand new Pokemon, or 1. Regardless, though, I can't see why they wouldn't do 2, as it was very successful for Sword and Shield. So the Sword and Shield blueprint just makes sense, but we'll see. We'll see. That's Scarlet and Violet DLC out the way. Now, here's what I really, really hope and pray that we're going to be getting. I'm on full cope. I'm on full cope. There's a little game that came out. In 2003. In Japan, 2004 in America, right? And 2004 later in Europe, shout out EU, called Pokémon Colosseum. I've been repping this game harder than anybody in the community. I really do wholeheartedly believe that. I've been on this game's dick for years, bro. Bounce and pause. So if we get any sort of variation of this, I'm talking port, I'm talking even acknowledgement, that would be awesome, because this game is hardly ever acknowledged either. And it's kind of wild because this Sceptile is entirely shiny. But regardless, I really do want some sort of acknowledgement, talk, or just brought up of Pokemon Colosseum. We're getting ports lately, and this game is definitely along the lines and due for a port. If we're gonna be getting Gen 3 ports, we already got Gen 1 and Gen 2. We're gonna be getting Gen 3 ports of like Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Fire, Leaf Green. We can't forget about the other 2 big title Gen 3 games, Colosseum and XD. We cannot forget. We cannot. We can't. And many people don't even know those games exist. I mean, Colosseum sold fairly well when it first came out. XD kind of sold all right. They didn't really age that well either. This is how they normally look like without emulators, so not the best. But I mean, again, I think these games are due for a remaster or port, HD port, something. I speak for the entire Aura community and the fans when I say we've been asking for a minute. I mean, we're literally based on Phoenix, Arizona. Like, come on, man. Like, you know, like the reviews weren't terrible. So like, I speak for the entire Aura community when I say we are on our knees, man. We are in no spin-offs. We're in no side games. We're barely talked about. The Aura region feels like it just kind of fell flat. The company Genius Sonority, they still work on games to this day. They even work on the recent Cafe Mix. So they're definitely still tied in with Pokemon. So it's not entirely impossible. This is full send cope. But we'll see, man. We'll see. I mean, again, Colosseum next year are basically Pokemon Stadium games with a story mode. And we are eventually probably going to get Stadium as well, too, ported. So I think it already is ported on the Nintendo Switch Online. I could be wrong, but full cope. Full cope, guys. I look like a fool here, but I'm putting it on blast. All right, guys, this one's probably a little obvious. Spoiler alert, it did actually kind of get somewhat talked about. That there might be a new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon that is potentially going to be announced. I am also probably one of the biggest Mystery Dungeon fans in the community, and I'll tell you right now, I'm excited for this title. I am. Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX was a phenomenal game, a phenomenal remaster with great new mechanics. It was a great game, and I enjoyed myself, but at the same time as well, too, there was Spike Chunsoft did recently title a brand new trademark. Now, people are assuming and theorizing that it's going to be Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. We could look like fools, and it's not. I don't know if it was fully converted to Mystery Dungeon. All I know is that they got a new trademark, Spike Chunsoft. They're the ones that work on Mystery Dungeon games. So that's exciting. It's really exciting, honestly. They also make Gates to Infinity, so look the other way. But hey, man, Mystery Dungeon is very likely to get a brand new version of a game. It could just be, you know, more content for this. God knows, hoping not. It's been about 3 years almost since this game has been out, so let's hope not. Yes, we've been in this that long. I do kind of hope, though, that the next one, Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky, is the one that they actually do remaster if they do something. I feel like it'd be easier to just do Sky, not gonna lie to you. It's definitely the more talked about title than, you know, Time and whatchamacallit, Darkness. But same time as well, too, we'll see. It could be an entirely brand new, fresh IP where it isn't even like Sky, Time, and Darkness. It's just a brand new, like Gen 9, like Fuecoco with a little scarf, which would be really adorable. I thought that the Gen 8 starters really did fit the most when it came to the little cute scarf design, but we'll see. All in all, though, we're very likely due for a Mystery Dungeon game, which is awesome because spin-offs are kind of on the comeback. We have Mystery Dungeon DX, which actually sold great. New Pokemon Snap, which is actually one of the best-selling Pokemon spin-off games since 2009 with Rangers, so it's a really big deal. So, again, very likely we're going to probably be getting these games, so we'll see. This also could be a little bit of cope, but also realistic because it was a brand new title trademark. So we'll see where that goes. You know, just to kind of mention spin-offs real quick, new Pokemon Snap did do really well for the company. I mean, they definitely saw it as a big success. It sold great, better than they imagined. Mystery Dungeon DX, again, also sold better than their actual, like, metrics that they had. They had a certain metric where, like, all right, if it doesn't sell as much, we're cooked off it. It apparently, I think it did like 70% above that. I remember seeing something about that. Could be wrong, but all I know is it did way better than they imagined. So seeing spin-offs on the return is really big for Pokemon fans, us Pokemon fans that do enjoy them. I know they're not really talked about as much as of recent because we have like mobile games, stuff like that, and like Unite and stuff. So Pokemon Go, Unite, right? Masters, let's go, Masters, let's go. So we got all of that. But I mean, again, I think spin-offs are a really big deal for Pokemon fans. I mean, a lot of people grew up with them. And I mean, when you see look at this. I mean, when you see a game that you grew up with and it looks this amazing, I imagine it's life-changing for you. So trust me when I say I love it. I want the return of spin-offs more than ever. With the 3DS and Wii U eShops being shut down permanently come next month, I think it is a big deal if spin-offs are on the horizon or not. Because if not, we're basically end of an era, right? But we'll see, guys. We'll see. Again, New One Staff did great, so it is likely we get more spin-offs. Same with Mystery Dungeon DX. Again, I could be full coping, but we'll see. It's actually wild to mention these games as early as it is right now. We just got Scarlet and Violet, but Black and White remakes are already being requested highly. They were trending in Japan already, and Black and White 2 hit its 10-year anniversary last year in 2012 and 2022. 10 years. The year prior, Black and White 1 hit 10 year. So these games are still relatively fresh for many players as they were not received well when they first launched. If you're old enough to remember, they were easily the most hated games on planet Earth. They make Sword and Shield look like a holy grail with how people compare the two, saying, oh, one was hated more than the other. Black and White was definitely hated more than anything imaginable. So I do want to remake myself. I would love that. If we get an announcement, that'd be insanely wild. I think this one is definitely a little bit of cope, but sad reality, it's definitely more realistic than Colosseum because it's obviously due for one, right? We're in the Gen 5 era of talk for a remake. And BDSP is over a year old now, so it's anything could happen. I mean, if we only get DLC this year and an announcement of a Black Ops remake next year, possible. It's actually funny you mentioned it. So when Let's Go was originally announced, they also announced alongside Let's Go a fresh new Pokemon Generation title game for hardcore diehard fans for the following year. So I always think it's really weird when people are like, oh, it's too early to announce. It's too early to announce. Bro, they announced Let's Go and then the same time they announced Sword and Shield. Like, they didn't specifically state it was Sword and Shield, but it's a diehard, hardcore Pokemon game for the diehard Pokemon fans that was heavily implied to be the next generation of Pokemon games. So I don't know. It's always weird when people say, oh, it's too early to be announced. I don't necessarily think it is. It could be as simple as, hey, this is also coming next year, but I understand some arguments. It could take some hype away, yada, 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 whatever. But regardless, man, these games were trending, so they very well could happen. But if they look like BDSP, man, I don't know, bro. I don't know, because these games were a hit success as well, too. Temporary limited time events with Shaman and Darkrai. So gifting mons with Mew and Jirachi. The Manaphy Egg was a nice touch, but the art style is what really turned people off for these games. It wasn't really what people expected at all of a Diamond and Pearl remake. It fixed the major issues of Diamond and Pearl, but at the same time as well too, the art style is what really turned people off. I mean, this chibi stuff was, I mean, it was different, man. It was different. It was just not what people wanted. I think if it looked kind of like this, people would have enjoyed it more, but I understand the argument because everyone was complaining about Sword and Shield art style, that I guess this is why Game Freak / Ilka didn't go for it per se, but I don't know. Another argument for another day. Besides the point, if it looks anything like BDSP, we are cooked. We are cooked because Black and White's art style is amazing. It is seen as one of the better art styles from Pokemon games. Like, even the ones that don't even really like it are like, yeah, no, bro, this sprite art style is like phenomenal. So it's like, if they fumble that, I don't know, bro. We'll just kind of have to see and kind of hope and pray that they don't. Because, I mean, look, man, like, they looked great. I mean, it was awesome. I was here for the hype. So hopefully we'll see how they're perceived. But I do think that there's a little bit of a chance that they could potentially be announced. So we'll kind of see how that is treated. But let me know what you think, guys, down below, if you guys are going to think these games are going to get announced or not. Guys, let me know what you think down below. Am I coping? Am I crazy? Are we going to get Colosseum? Are they going to talk about it, acknowledge it? Even a small little trademark of West, I lose my mind. Let me know what you think, guys. I'm probably full cope, but I got to manifest it. I'm on Manifesto Michael Wave, boys. Leave a like down below. Subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.